We'll talk about that.
It's quite put. Hello, welcome. My name is Ian. This is Jason. We're Sinners Review. I have to keep thinking whether it's Sinners Music or Sinners Review. It's Sinners Review podcast. If you've not seen us before, we try and do these weekly, but not always. And we've been on holiday. We've had a month off because I've been away at Edinburgh Fringe, and Jason's going to tell me what he's been doing for the last month.
Yeah, well, it's been summer, right? We've had rain now, finally. I think we've had,
God,
we're finally getting
and some.
rainfall.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's been a long, hot summer, to be fair.
yeah.
Nice.
The weather's been good. I've enjoyed the hot summer, but I have to say I don't like it when it's cold and it's already cold. I'm not happy with that. So
I'm still in t-shirts for the minute.
yeah, I know. Well, actually, in here it's actually quite warm, but
Right.
you know, I had my hoodie on yesterday for the first time.
Right.
So yeah, so we're recording this on Monday, the 1st of September, and it'll probably go out on Wednesday, I think, by the time I get around to editing it and stuff. So how's your month been?
Yeah, well, lots going on. When did we last see each other? I think
We
it was at
saw
the
each other.
E-Mob in Wales, was it?
That's the last time we actually physically were in the same room together, I think.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
I think we did a podcast after that, didn't we? Did we do
We
one at the
did,
end
we
of,
did it. We maybe did a
end of
couple, I think.
August, just
End
before
of
the
July. I think just at the
end of
big, yeah,
July.
just
Yeah, not
end of
August,
July.
end
You're
of
right.
July. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What things have I been up to? I'll be honest, most of it has been I've got an 18-year-old daughter who thankfully is into music, very, very kind of pop, but most of my summer has been ferrying her around to different music festivals,
So you're a
despite
taxi
her
driver.
ability to drive, even though she can drive. So yeah, I've been an Uber. Um, so I took her to she went to Reading Festival.
Oh God,
Yeah, because
that's
because Chapel Roan was at Reading. So she
so
went to the Reading on the Friday night.
she wasn't involved in that horrible crush because I mean no, there was I don't know which artist he was. Oh, it's somebody's Travis Scott. Apparently, he's got
Yeah,
history. He was there, wasn't he? It might have been.
yeah,
I don't know when he was because but apparently the crush was quite bad for his
right.
gig, and we were pulling people out, and it was all a
Right.
bit.
That
But
must have
obviously,
been
she
on the
had,
Saturday.
yeah.
She was there on the Friday, and that was fine. It was chaperone. Everybody was wearing cowboy boots, cowboy hats, short
That's all right.
shorts. Basically, everybody looked the same. I was hanging around in the parking spot with all the other dads waiting for their kids to come out. It's just an endless stream of girls that largely looked the same. The interesting thing was my 18-year-old daughter felt old at a music festival. She said I felt old
Wow.
because it was like 15 and 16-year-olds,
It's a
which
bit
was
of a rite of passage because my boys went to Leeds every year for quite a few years, and yeah,
right.
I did that, in the traffic jam queuing to try and pick them
Yeah,
up,
yeah. Yeah, that's
and
the way it goes.
and one time I actually because the traffic jam was so bad, I actually walked into to actually meet them, and it was like I mean, and Leeds apparently is worse, slightly worse than Reading, but they set
Right.
fire to stuff in Leeds.
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
it did look like a bomb site. It really did.
Right.
Anyway, that was, yeah.
So no, that was good. She experienced that. And then then she went to Forwards Festival in Bristol. It's at Clifton Downs. I went
Okay.
last year actually. I toyed with the idea. It was a good lineup this year. But then I just didn't. I'd already done it and I've been to a lot of gigs. So she went to Forwards Festival. So again, I was the taxi driver for that. So yeah, basically I'm enjoying music through my daughter rather than myself. Although I will say on Saturday I went to, it was a nice surprise. On Saturday I went to, um, the studio in Bruton, Octopus
Yeah.
Studios. You came down there, right? So they had, there's a guy that organises a night. It's called Bocky Tom, and it's basically he's got two vinyl decks, and people can take their own vinyl and can DJ. You basically take three, you get three records each, and it's not stuffy about the style, not
Yeah. Yeah.
stuffy about your DJing skills. he'll help you with the gear, make sure you know what you're doing, right? You're just playing good records. So when their Saturday night just gone, but there was actually a band on, a band based from Bristol. They played like just under an hour set, a band called Moonbird. They're hard to find online because you get to quite a few Moonbirds before you get to them. But they're Bristol based, two guys, actually fantastic. It was electronics. They were driving everything from Ableton. I played bass. One guy had a bass, the other guy had guitar. They were doing lots of loops. So they'd play a guitar riff, it'd loop, then they'd play other stuff over the top. But they had lots of live instrumentation as well. So they had like a xylophone going on,
Oh wow.
lots of percussion instruments. They were both taking it in turns and singing. They were firing samples off a drum thing. Really good vibe, kind of chill outy, Ibiza-y, not chill out. Some of it was up tempo, but it wasn't too up tempo. It was between 80 and 110 BPM. Really
Well,
nice. A little bit like Fortet, a little
yeah,
bit
I quite like
a little bit
Forte. I've
that
got a couple
vibe.
of albums. So what was the name again?
Moonbird. I'll send you a link to them. They're
Yeah, I
Bristol
mean,
based.
it's just worth mentioning. How
We should
often
promote them.
Moonbird? How often
Yeah.
do bands not do an internet search when they give themselves a name and they
Yeah.
find that there's you said there was a few more before you actually got to them.
There was. I
You
found them
know,
because I knew what I was looking for. Because they've got their last single is on there called Evergreen, so that's the way to find them. You have
right?
to do Moonbird Evergreen, but they're really good. Two young guys. Hey, who isn't young these days? But I mean, they've mastered their craft. They had a laptop, but the laptop was you couldn't tell it was a laptop. They
Yeah, yeah,
presented the laptop so you saw it from the side rather than from the front. So, there was backing going on, but it was minimal backing. I think that the backing was essentially the drums, and then the rest of the instrumentation was live looping and live playing. And I was really impressed. I wasn't expecting to see a band there, so that was the nice surprise. And they're actually really good. It was in the Fortet, chill out,
yeah.
Max DeMarco on a vibe, really nice. But they were absolutely on top of their gear. Great musicians.
Cool.
They were they both played bass and guitar, so they were swapping. So in the next track, the guy who played bass, he handed it over, but they were doing they're really, really good. I was really, really impressed. It's worth looking out for them if they're doing something around Frome
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
surrounding area.
yeah. The bit, yeah.
Um, Really, really
Uh,
good. So that was a nice surprise from the weekend. Um, yeah, not a lot else really. Nowhere near as probably as exciting as you.
well,
Um,
we'll get on to the main topic's going to be the madness of Edinburgh Fringe, but let me talk about the last 2 weeks since I came back from Edinburgh Fringe. Then, so I've spent most of it rewiring all of this stuff.
okay,
So this is
and
all.
how's that gone?
Uh, it's still a work in progress.
Okay,
All of this is now wired up for audio. All of it is through here. I am working on the stuff at this side as well. But I've bought. You can't see it, but it's a Mio XL MIDI box. So and today, most of it is wired up for MIDI.
okay,
The only things that are not, for some reason, the Hydrosynth doesn't seem to want to play ball, and neither does the Roland TRS-8. But I'll get to them. But everything else is wired up for MIDI, apart from
nice. And
things
you've had a
like,
bit of a move around by the look of it.
yeah,
Looks like
yeah.
you've
I mean,
reorganized things.
this doesn't have MIDI, so there's absolutely no
Right.
point in doing that. But
Mm.
the little things like the Behringer Model D is wired up. It's wired up for MIDI, but it's also wired into the sledge. So yeah, no, and yeah, I've had a bit of a move around, and I've moved my books. So there's going to be a shelf at the back there where I put some more synths on. I've moved the
Very
CDs
nice.
around. Yeah, so it's off and on. It's taken me 2 weeks really
Right.
to do it, and like I said, there's a bit more to do, but it's getting there, which is good actually.
Most
Um,
things are fired up okay.
yeah, everything's
Yeah,
working fine. Yeah,
good.
no problem at all. What else did I do? I've been trying to get. I've been using the launch key today. You know, the little launch key 3 that I bought.
Mm.
Now I bought that to really connect to the Seek track and the OPZ. Can I get them to talk to the Seek track and the OPZ? No. They work actually. They
Oh,
work fine
so
as
I've got its
a.
bigger brother.
Oh,
I've got its. Oh, I've
it
missed. I've
just
disappeared.
disappeared. You just
I've got its
disappeared.
bigger brother. I'm trying to show you that. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't. Oh, there we
Oh,
go. Oh,
yeah,
there we go.
yeah,
So I've
yeah,
got his bigger brother. It's the
yeah,
37 actually,
yeah.
but it's the same. That didn't work very well. It shows it's the same as my Hydrosynth Explorer in size. So I've got that here in my pad just to be able to. I can't get on with the mini keys that you've got.
Yeah. So, I mean, it works fine as a MIDI controller because I plugged it into the Mio XL and it works straight away.
Right.
Interestingly, today, because I normally use Reaper, could I get any of it to work with Reaper? No. The minute I switched on Logic, everything just worked. So, I mean, Reaper can be a little bit, I need to fiddle with Reaper to obviously make it work. But once I know everything's working with Logic, then
Mm,
I'll fix the Reaper issue, you know.
right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I spent a good hour just trying to get Reaper to talk to, and then I gave up, and like I said, it worked straight away. Yeah, so
Right.
I can't get the there's templates and all sorts of things that I need to factor in, which I wasn't expecting that because I just expected it to work. It must be class compliant, and so are them, but no,
Mm.
they don't talk to each other. Um, so I've been doing that. I've joined the Froome Film Club. So I'm going to go to the film club once a month, which is foreign films. So
Nice.
that's only 30 quid for the year, 10 months. Uh, first one's first one's on the 10th, actually.
Nice. Different venues or the same venue
No,
every
same
time?
venue. It's literally just down the road, but they're they're all films that I've never seen. I mean, I think the first one's a Brazilian political thing. So, you know,
You mean you haven't seen every Brazilian political movie out there?
no.
Where have you been?
I mean, I have failed miserably in that. Um, I don't want to get political, but I've started boycotting brands and companies because of the genocide in Gaza. Because quite a lot of stuff on social media, the Palestinian organizations are asking you to boycott certain products and certain foods and certain companies. And Jane and I have gone down that route. So what I will say is, if you're interested in that, I will put a link down below too. There's a really good site where it tells you the sites that you need to boycott. I mean, it's affected us quite a bit. Tesco's is one of them. We got Tesco's down the road, so we ain't going to Tesco's anymore. My Diet Coke's gone down to Swanee. So has Amazon. I will be closing my Disney Plus account. We can't go to Lidl. There's a whole load of them anyway. So and it just feels that I need to do something now, really. So but I'm not preaching to anybody. But if you're
Mm.
interested, there'll be a link down below on that. And I played live in here on Saturday night.
Okay. When
There
did you
was
do a live stream of it?
yeah, well, I didn't. I just literally, my mate Kent has the online pub occasionally. So on Saturday night, he had the online pub, and literally, sort of half an hour in, these couple of American brothers came on, and it turned into a jam. Now, we're not. There's a latency issue, so there's not much in terms of beats. It's very very ambient. But I ended up playing the instrument, you know, with the iPad doing GeoShred, which was quite fun actually. It was, and then you would chat for a bit, and then we'd play a bit more.
Well, doesn't so Cubase has a live function where it gets rid of the latency, or does its best to? I suppose you've all got to be on the same platform, I
You've all got to
suppose,
be on
is
the
the
same
challenge.
platform. There is another platform which is free, which is called Jamtabber, and we've done a bit with that in the past. But
Right.
you have to. It's the thing. It was because it was very spontaneous. Was this? It literally was. We were just nattering. The two brothers came on, and we were chatting, and they started playing, and then other people joined in. So it's very much spontaneous. You didn't
Mm.
have to go anywhere else. And that's the problem. If you go to Jamtabber, you go there specifically to go and play with somebody, and anybody can join your room, whether you want
Yeah.
them or not. I don't even think you can kick them out.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not that into doing that sort of thing. Because it was spontaneous and we were just all there, it was quite a nice thing to do. Will I do it again? I'm not going to make myself go and do it, but it was good fun to do for a one-off, really. So that was quite fun, really.
Nice.
Yeah, that's probably my fortnight. There's not much else gone on since I got
Well,
back.
hang on. Cinnamon buns.
Oh, right, okay. Well, interestingly, I only had one cinnamon bun in Scotland, and it was
Is it not a thing in Scotland?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't go looking for them.
Right.
It was fairly early on, first few days, and we got into the habit of having 2 or 3 decaf mochas a day. And in fact, we bought little thermal cups rather than having lots of landfill cups. Sorry, my phone's just buzzing. I'm just going to turn it off. And so we bought a couple of cups, and we were going to have 2 or 3 a day. And then on one of the days, there just happened to be a cinnamon bun there. And so I had one. It was okay. It was a 3 out of 5.
Right.
And then I went to Bath. I had a day in Bath on last Friday.
It's called
And
Bath round those ways,
I know it is, yeah, but
Good
it's
Bath.
It's Bath. It's a
Bath, innit?
bath. It's a bath.
It's Bath, innit?
It's Bath.
And you sit on the grass.
When you're from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Midlands and from the north, it's Bath. It's
It's
Bath.
Bath.
Yeah. So, and we always go to the same little coffee shop, and they actually have a reasonable cinnamon bun, but it's not brilliant. It's actually, there's too much sugar on it. It's completely
Right.
covered in sugar, which is a bit of a shame. And I did eat it. I did have one with my mocha, but I thought actually, I wish I hadn't have had it now because it was just it was all a bit too sweet. So,
Is that more of a 2 out of 5?
yeah, the gold standard is definitely chocolatine, and
So they're still holding their crown.
they absolutely are. In fact, I need to be able to. If I could order them and get them fresh, I would. I would do. And obviously, just back to my boycott thing, M&S is one of the dodgy companies, so I can't go and get a Froome M&S cinnamon bun anymore. So I do need to find somewhere else to get one. But yeah.
Well, aside from the political reasoning, anyway, I think spending your hard-earned pounds with local independent traders
Absolutely.
is better than feeding. Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more money.
No,
He doesn't need your $7.99, right?
No. And I mean, I can't close my Amazon account because I would if I could, because I do actually still need to. I need to use it for things like my Kindle and stuff like that. But this site it tells you about things like, I mean, Google's one of the companies, but they're not stupid enough to turn around and say just close your Google account. It's about paying money to them.
Yeah.
So I pay Google for cloud storage for Sinners Music. I need to, and it's up for renewal middle of this month actually. So I need to come up with another solution to do that, which is I just need to get around to doing it, and then not pay them however much it is, 20 quid a year or whatever it is, So it's stuff like that. So use those services when they're not costing you anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
But you're right. Jeff Bezos does not need my money. I've got an Elon Musk story, but I'll wait for the actual main topic.
Okay.
So I don't know how we're doing on time actually, because
What else? Just while we're on that topic, just some, what have I been up to? And it talks
Yeah.
a little bit to using appropriate things. So I'm in the process. We talk about Grotify regularly.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of moving across to Apple. I've got the family subscription for Spotify, so I've got to take other people across with me. This is the complication.
Yeah.
There is a little app now actually that Apple have got where you can import your playlists from other platforms.
I'd
So
heard
if you
about
was
that.
on,
Yeah.
yes, if you're on Tidal or any of them, it can import your playlist across if just saves you doing it manually. So what I will, apart from that, so I've got the 3 months free trial with Apple, and Apple is actually £1 cheaper for the family deal, but
And
Apple doesn't have as many podcasts. Is probably the only kicker.
Yeah, you get the better quality though, because you can
I
you
was
know,
just going to say that.
yeah,
So the music
yeah.
is, I've noticed a difference. I've got the Apple AirPods. Like, I mean, look, Apple don't need any more money either.
No, they
And
don't.
it almost, I don't know if you saw him. I don't know if you saw Tim Cook give
No,
Trump the gold-plated police. Did you see him? He
no, I
basically delivered
didn't.
him.
No,
He
no.
basically gave him a gold bar with an Apple logo on it. Currying favour.
Ugh.
So they're not much better, but
But they're all at it, aren't they? They are
they
all
are.
at
They
it.
are.
Yeah.
But I did notice the sound quality. So I've got the Apple AirPods. Obviously, I've been so used to listening to Spotify on my Apple AirPods, and now actually switching to Apple Music, a very noticeable difference in the quality.
Yeah.
It's just thicker, fuller. I went back and listened to the Ramshackle album, which I obviously know very intimately. The album we put out on Cine
Yeah, yeah.
Music in March this year. When I've been listening to it on the go, I've been listening to it was on Spotify. Now listening to Apple, I'm hearing it very differently.
You're
Yeah,
hearing different
very, very
things.
differently. Well, I think just the sound quality. I'm appreciating the quality of it that I
Yeah.
was actually losing on Spotify, which is quite interesting. And because it's not going through Spotify's compression and everything
Yeah.
else, it's standing up better against other commercial releases. When I was listening to it on Spotify, it wasn't standing up against commercial items. Interestingly, on Apple Music, it's standing side by side with it in terms of all-round quality, which I'm quite
Yeah.
pleased about.
I do know that Spotify are going to start charging for what they're calling a premium quality. So they are going to
Right?
start. I mean, the reality is that premium quality should have been there from day one, but as we
Right.
know, they're a tech company, not a music company. So,
Mm.
and that's meant to be this year. I don't know if it's actually happened because I don't. I'll be honest with you, I don't tend to pay much attention to what Daniel Ek and his mates do. Really,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did one thing. I bought an album while I was in Bath. So there's a really great charity shop. It's Dorothy House, but it's just books and music. That's all they do. They've got other
Mhm.
ones as well, but that's. Um, and so I bought this. You probably can't see what it's. So it's
Upside down for a start.
upside
Sound
down for that.
effects.
That doesn't help, does it? So BBC Records, sound effects number two. And it's got some great stuff on here that's going to get
Yeah.
used. So, summer backgrounds, horse and pony, the hunt, special effects and crowd. So, we've got crowd, pneumatic drills, musical bubblings, whatever they are, children playing sports, household sounds, vacuum cleaner, bath, obviously,
Yeah.
WC, lawnmower. We've got gunfire, a whole load of different types of rifles and machine guns and stuff. Marching sounds, helicopters, aircraft crashing, a
Well,
car
every
crash.
song I start to write, I always say, if only I had the sound of an aircraft
Aircraft
crashing.
crashing, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the fact is though,
That's what the charts is missing right now.
you sample it and then you stretch it with Paul Stretch, and you turn it into something else, don't you? Really, But ambulance, sports cars, and boats. £2.50.
Bargain.
I also bought a book. Jane found it, but I want to read some more John Wyndham novels. Have you ever read in John Wyndham?
I'm not a
So,
big reader, mate.
oh no, you
I'm not a
said, didn't
big
you?
massive
So
reader.
started in the mid 50s to the mid 60s, really. But he wrote, shall we say, great sci-fi stories that became films more of it. So he wrote Day of the Triffids, and
Okay,
he
yeah,
did
yeah.
The Midwich Cuckoo, which became Children of the Damned, I think. And I've only read those two books, and I don't own any. But Jane found this book for £6, and it's got all six of his books from 1955 to 1967 in
Mm.
as one, like an omnibus book. And I thought that's a bargain. So it's in the house. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to bother showing
Mm.
it. But yeah. So John Wyndham, if you do get into reading, he's definitely worth reading. You know, he's one of the good guys, along with Isaac Asimov. But we won't go there. Do you know who Isaac
Ooh.
Asimov is?
I've heard the name,
Yeah.
but go on.
So classic
Did he
sci-fi
not do
stuff.
the?
He did
Was it not
iRobot,
the? Oh,
iRobot,
okay.
which became a movie. That was based on his original story. But he wrote. I mean, I've got quite a few of Isaac Asimov books. He wrote really, really. He's the guy who came up with the three laws of robotics.
Okay, I'm mixing it with Ustinov. Was Ustinov like
Oh, Peter
under the
Ustinov.
sea?
He was.
Was he not like 30,000 leagues under the sea or something? Was that Ustinov?
No.
Or am I mixing?
Peter Ustinov was a sort of. He did write, but he was a raconteur and a commentator in the sort of
Okay.
60s and 70s. Leagues Under the Sea was Jules Verne.
Okay. See, I told you I don't read. I mean, I can read.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just
Yeah,
don't read
yeah,
books.
yeah.
Not enough time in the day to read a book. I think it's a little bit
I've always got a book on. In fact, one of my recommendations is a book this time, but we'll get to that.
nice. Nice.
So I'm just seeing how we're doing
I was
for.
going to say, how long we got left? Should we get
It doesn't
into?
say actually. I thought it started to say. It says meetings 40 minutes. We'll just keep going until it
Did you
tells
get your
us
5-minute warning?
your 5 minute warning. Yeah. So
So, where
right.
else you been in August? What else you been up to?
In August, I happened to go to the world's largest arts festival. So Edinburgh Fringe, the madness that is Edinburgh Fringe. Okay. So we feel quite privileged that we go as reviewers. We have to apply for that,
Mm.
and it's only based on past. Well, what they do is they basically vet you every year. So they want to know that you've been before as a reviewer, and they want to know basically what you've done in the past. So they always want to, links to. So they get links to the videos and everything, and the radio show and all that sort of stuff. So that's what gets us accreditation. And I always feel one year they're going to turn around and go, no, you're not. We're not going to give you it anymore, because it just feels a bit like that. There was over 400 media accredited reviewers this year.
So I was reading up about it, and there's over 1,080 media representation,
Yeah,
as you say. So 400 of them are reviewers.
yeah.
Oh,
And then there's people that
interesting.
aren't. There's people that are just literally. I mean, I met somebody who was a TikTok reviewer. Now I don't quite know. I didn't get what her channel was, but I think she was accredited.
Right.
I mean, I've got some stats actually for just the general stuff. I mean, I will come back to reviewers, because there was a bit of an issue this year with
Oh, okay. I'll be
reviewers.
interested when we come back to the reviews. Interested to know the journey of, how many years have you been doing it?
Right. I've actually been, on YouTube, we have been doing it for 5 years.
Okay.
2 years before that, I wrote for York Mix
Right.
online website.
Okay. So 7 years then. So it'd be interested in that 7 years you've been doing it, you've probably seen the change in what media is, right?
Yeah,
Is it
absolutely.
somebody just Instagramming,
Yeah,
compared to, as you say, 7 years ago, probably as little as 7 years ago, it was written press, right?
it
People with
was.
laptops
Uh,
making notes,
there's still a lot of that.
right?
Most people. So yeah, I mean, we hang out in the Space press office. They're really welcoming, and always been really welcome to us, because we're small. We know we're small fry in that sense. Although, having said that, this year we had 58,000 views on TikTok, because we started putting the actual reviews up on TikTok unedited. So the edited reviews get put on YouTube every day,
Yeah.
but the unedited ones, the raw footage, just gets put onto TikTok. So that had more views than YouTube. YouTube was 18,000, I think. Did I make a note of it? I wrote it down, I thought, somewhere. No, I don't know where I put it. Oh, 14,000 views on YouTube. And people did come up to us and say, "Oh, I've seen your stuff on YouTube or on TikTok, and so we met people who obviously followed us on the media. What's supposed to happen is that reviewers, if you let the Fringe office know, a Fringe Society know, they will put the links up on their website, so people going to the Fringe to buy tickets can see your review. doesn't happen for us. Never happened for us. I did send them. I sent them a link really early on because we had a conversation when we picked up our accreditation passes and said, look, and it's never happened. But we're not alone. There's quite a few that don't get their reviews put on the Fringe Society website. We would contact the artist directly after we've reviewed their show. If it's more than 3 stars, we'd tell them, and we'd send them a link to it, usually through Instagram, really. And now the rest of the year, I don't use Instagram very much, really. If it's less than that, if it's 3 stars and below, and we don't give 1-star reviews because we just don't review, we refuse to, put it out there. Right. We did do quite a few 2-star reviews this year, more so than last year. I'll be honest with you, one of the shows, I think Jane gave it 3. I absolutely hated it. And had I been able to walk out, I would have walked out. Now, it wasn't that it was badly acted. It wasn't. The 3 guys doing it were great, but it was 3 chickens in a cage for an hour. And it was really boring. I was just really bored. There was one bit where one of them actually came out of the cage and actually broke the 4th wall and started talking to the audience. I thought, this is great. This is where it's going to go somewhere else now. Nah, he got back in the cage and he carried on. So, yeah, I did. It was Marmite. Jane liked it. It wasn't as funny as she thought it was. I really didn't like it, but and I gave it 2 stars for the acting. Sort of stuff like that, really. Yes. So where's my stats? So this is official stats from the Fringe Society, because at the end of the Fringe, they email you with all of the data. So 62 countries were represented on stage this year. 1,770 accredited arts industry members. That's not press. That's promoters, producers, festival and venue bookers. Because you've got to think that what also happens is that people who book theatres and arts centres and places like that, they go to Edinburgh Fringe to look at shows to bring to their town or city. So that sort of stuff goes on, really. 1,084 professional media credits.
That's the number I got. So I got the same stats. Yeah.
So my 400 is probably wrong then in that sense, because and from 36 countries. So Jane and I were 2 of them in that number. It's worth mentioning that while we're talking about that, for the first time, I think there was one journalist who didn't go to the show, and I don't know who they are, didn't go to the show, but submitted their review via AI, via ChatGPT. Another reviewer went to the comedy show, recorded the comedy show on his phone, and then got AI to write the review. Now, what we did what we always do, which was we don't talk about it until we talk about it on camera. We do our review. What I then did when I was editing it, I would take a transcript of what Jane and I said and turn it into a theatre review, and then I would put it's a ChatGPT transcript and put that in the comments. So if you go and look at any of our reviews, they have got quite a good theatre review style adaptation of what we actually said.
Okay.
So we're not hiding it.
Well, that's fair use.
It is. And actually, when I was talking to one of the press officers for one of the promoters, I said, we're doing this, and what's your thoughts? He said, well, I'll be honest with you, I've been already doing that. I've been putting your stuff into ChatGPT and then taking sound bites to put on posters. So we just made their job a bit easy, really. So, okay. But it was quite easy to do. It was very easy to do, really. It took seconds. There was one show where it took me about 5 attempts. It just didn't get the it was a comedy show, and it just didn't get the vibe really. But I got there in the end with it. Really. What else do we have? So we've got a nearly 25,000 tickets were issued by the Fringe Society's access ticketing service. Now, the reality of how many tickets were actually sold, it's not on there.
2.6 million, I think. I saw.
2.6, 2.6 million
Yeah.
for 3,893 shows. Now, the reality is, we reviewed a show that wasn't in the Fringe website. We'd seen this lady's show, one woman show, a lady in her sort of 60s, quite gentle. I didn't go to it this year, but Jane, both went to it last year. Jane's been in contact with her, and the Fringe Society or the Fringe website had the wrong show listed for her. So she paid for a show. She paid for a show to be put in the program, and then that show was wrong.
Right.
She couldn't afford to pay for it again to have it corrected. So, and sadly, she was in a pub. She was on the Free Fringe in a pub with no door. So there was a comedy show next door, which was too loud. And you really felt for her. She was averaging 2 people per show. And we tried, Jane reviewed it. I couldn't go because I was actually at something else, and we just tried to help promote it a little bit for her, really. But so that sort of stuff happens. So not everything was in the Fringe website, and there is quite a large contingent of what's called the Free Fringe, but they're not all Free Fringe. There was 2 shows, so we reviewed 60 shows in 14 days. There's 2 shows we didn't review. One of them we went as guests, so we didn't have to review it. We were given free VIP passes from one of the promoters, and it was the only time we used it. But we went to this show and thought, if it's really good, we'll review it. It wasn't great. It was a bit workingman's club, if I'm honest.
Right.
And the other show was on the Free Fringe, and I'm not going to name him, but I've seen him quite a lot in the past. And it was lazy. I think Jane called it lazy. We paid 12 quid each to see it, and then decided we didn't want to review it. So that was quite within our rights. Talk about being overstimulated. I mean, some of the people I was talking to most of the people we know write for things like Broadway Baby and Fringe Review. So they write their reviews, and both of those organisations have a team of people that go and review stuff. I do believe that, I'm not sure about Broadway Baby, but certainly Paul Levy, who is the editor of Fringe Review, is unpaid. So the reviewers like us, they go because they love the arts, really.
Yeah.
And then they write quite a comprehensive review, and sometimes it can take them quite a long time to write the reviews. So to some extent, what they do is harder than what Jane and I do. Because we get to film our reviews straight after the event, and then obviously I didn't have that many late nights. I mean, the average was about 1 o'clock in the morning by the time I'd sort of finished. And then I usually finished off editing and getting things up the following morning. The last couple of nights, I had to stay because we had quite a lot of shows on at the end. I stayed up till 2 o'clock both nights, and I felt pretty shattered.
Yeah,
that last full day, that was for me where I felt the tiredest, really. We changed what we normally do as well, because in the past we've always carried around the GoPro and a great big microphone, and then just set that up. I use this. I use that and a little. I've got a little tripod thing, which is quite light. And then I bought off TikTok shop a couple of little microphones, these little things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they were great. They worked really, really well. The whole thing was spot on. And it also, because I was recording it to the phone, I was able to put the raw footage, provided it was less than 10 minutes, up onto TikTok, which is what I did do.
Yeah, rather than get it off, render it from your GoPro.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to start messing around having to do all that.
Yeah,
yes,
makes sense.
I had to. I mean, the first night I did it, which I think was the second night, because we were using the GoPro for the first 48 hours. Getting the off the phone was the hardest thing in the Wi-Fi of where we were staying, because we were staying in student accommodation. I mean, I do believe there was some free accommodation for certain members of the press, which I will try and explore for next year, because the reason we were only there for 14 days was because we couldn't afford to go for any longer. It cost $3,000 for us to stay for 14 days in student accommodation. So we're going to look into that next year and see if we can even if we get a little bit extra, like we pay for what we normally do, and an extra week or something like that would have helped. But there's people everywhere. People were saying it's not as busy as previous years. It seemed really just as busy to Jane and I. I mean, you're literally.
But has it grown in size in terms of the number of artists though, or has that stayed pretty constant? So it's 3,800 shows. Is that going up every year?
No, it's going down.
So that's not the reason for the busyness then. The busyness is the footfall.
I think it's busy anyway. I mean, what you've got to remember is there's not just the Fringe. There's the International Festival, which we didn't see anything. I mean, we could have requested tickets if there was something we really wanted to go see, but we didn't. There's also a book festival, and there's probably even one or two other little things going on. I think there may even be a film festival as well. So there's lots of festivals going on, and they're not all for the full month. So, the criticism of the Fringe is that the original idea of the Fringe is that anybody can take a show there, and anybody can, but it's become so big and such a sort of conglomerate that it is so expensive to take shows there. I spoke to a few people about that. I mean, one of the acts that we went to see a thing called I think Sex, MDNA, and Sex, Raves, and MDNA, right? One woman show. We got talking to her in the press office, and she was just asking for advice from people around there. And we were all chipping in. So I said, "What's your show about?" And she said, "Would you?" I said I was a musician. She said, "Would you come and see a show about sex, drugs, and MD and raves?" I went, "Yeah."
Yeah. Where do I sign up?
Yeah. And she was absolutely lovely. And it was her and the director. So it's a one woman show. Luckily they'd got some funding to be able to bring the show, so they were gonna break even. And they were selling pretty well. They'd had a couple of sellout nights. I won't say that our review helped, but we gave them 4 stars because it was a really good show. But all of that sort of stuff does help, but the expense of the whole thing, I mean, I think it costs, I did get some figures from certain people. I mean, like I say, you can't really quote me on these. So your bit of the stage for your 50 minutes or your hour will cost you somewhere between, anything up to £1,500 for the week, depending on the size of the stage, because it could be a big room or it could be a small room, and then you've got to be spending 200, 300, 400 quid on flyers, maybe more, boxes of flyers to hand out. Posters would be a minimum 600 quid. And the problem with the posters is that there is only one company you can use.
Oh, wow. They've got the monopoly on it.
There's a real monopoly going on there. And those big posters must cost 1,000 quid. Yeah. I don't know, really. The where you get the sort of really famous people that you see on TV, they have massive posters everywhere, really, whereas everybody else has got an A3 or, sometimes an A4 poster. So all of that stuff, and that's before you even get to accommodation. So to take a show to Edinburgh Fringe, when they say most shows don't, are lucky to break even, that's probably true, you know.
So, but I guess for the bigger artists or artists that are up and coming and going to get it's a platform, I guess, isn't
It
it?
is.
If you get the right exposure, if you do get the right media coverage and you're planning a tour in 2026, it's a great, jump off point for you, right? It's worth
Absolutely.
the risk, isn't it? You can't do it every year, but I suppose when you're confident in your material and you can take it out on the road, it's that good first publicity to get you going, isn't it?
And there are a lot of fringes. I mean, I have emailed Lambeth Fringe because Lambeth Fringe is coming up, I think, next month or later this month. And being in London, I've got somewhere to stay, so I could go. We wouldn't go for it's the whole month. We wouldn't go for the whole month, but we'd dip in and out for 2 or 3 shows, that type of thing. They haven't replied, so that's probably not going to happen now.
Right.
But there's fringes not only all over the UK, but all over Europe to some extent, and in Australia and all over the world, really. But, so one of the best shows I saw this year was 3 Australians. It was called, I've got to get a title right because the title's bonkers, Dead Mouse and the Pea Brain Dreams, right? And it was not on our radar at all. And we'd spent, 5-6 weeks looking at all the stuff that we thought we might go and see.
Mm.
And we'd seen 3 or 4 shows that day. And I was sat in the Space Press office and I said to Nick and Alba, who was sat behind the desk, I said, we've got no shows tonight, so recommend something that Space are putting on, And so Nick pitched me a thing called Jack, which was a queer version of Jack the Ripper. Now, he wanted us to go see it because they'd had a 1-star review from a written paper, but they'd had quite a few 4-star reviews.
So
and we
wanted
said
to make sure that was the
he
outlier.
he wanted another opinion, really.
Yeah.
Because he knew that we were never going to give it a 1-star review. If it was bad, we would go back and talk to him about it and say, look,
Sure.
And actually, that night it was sold out. So we never did get to see it, and we meant to try and get to see it just anyway, but it was sold out. So that 1-star review, clearly maybe that reviewer had a problem with a queer musical. Who knows what the reasoning was when everything else was sort of 4 stars. Albert, the other guy in the press office, he recommended the Dead Mouse and the Pea Brain Dream. Well, it was absolutely hilarious. From the moment that they walked out on stage, it was just brilliant. And we gave it 5 stars. Both of us.
I was going to ask you that. Were there any 5-starers? Okay.
Yeah, there were a few. So, I mean...
And it's Dead Mouse. It's not Dead Mouse, the
no,
electronic
it's
dance
not.
music.
No, it was literally...
It's a mouse.
There's that... When they come
It's
out...
a rodent.
This is the opening gambit, really. So it's in a room. It's not on an actual stage. You sort of sat 3 sides round. There's a mouse in the sat in the middle of the stage. They literally, one of them walks out and stamps on it, and that's the start of it. And that in itself was hilarious, And it went on from there. It was just absolutely brilliant. And so we both gave it 5 stars. So you can't get any better than that, really, from us. Quite a few of them, I would give it 5 stars, or Jane would, but the other one wouldn't. And we bumped into them a couple of days later, and she went, "Oh, your review was fantastic." She said, "You made me cry." I went, "Oh, that wasn't the intention." No, she said, "No, I've sent it to my mum," which I thought was just absolutely lovely. And when we were talking to them, they almost didn't come.
Right.
They're a young theatre company. They've studied clown technique because they were really, really good at that sort of, it wasn't farce. It had a story. It was really funny. It was just absolutely superb.
So
And
it sounds like it was very animated, I guess, then.
it
So
was, yeah, and it was everything that the Fringe is about, really. It's I mean, they're called All Right is the actual theatre company.
right.
So if I said to you, you've got to come back next year with something else because we're going to come and see you. Because we'd just go and see them because whatever they do will be they really know what they're doing and they're really young, you know.
That's
So
yeah, nice to see.
yeah, so stuff like that, you do get to see some really really good quality theatre and music and stuff like that. I went to a music show. Jane, we couldn't get 2 tickets, so I had to go on my own because we did have a bit of an issue with one of the promoters only not supplying 2 press tickets, which seemed a bit weird. And when we told them we told them up front how we do it, anyway. So I went to see this music show, and I thought it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. What annoyed me was the 2 blokes that were sat. It wasn't full, but they were sort of sat. There's 2 blank seats, and these 2 guys sat there. For the first half an hour, they were on the phones, and they were looking at stuff on the phones and chatting to each other.
Right.
And I mean, I was about to actually go over and say, look, put your phone away, please. You're distracting the other members of the audience. But they got up and walked out.
Right.
And it was really good. And then at the end of it, they do a little bit to sort of try and promote it. So I'm really sorry about it. We had 2 cast members who were ill, so there should have been some lights, some lasers, and all that sort of stuff. And I was just really impressed that they were able to put the show on without 2 cast members, and we didn't know,
Right.
and it was still really really good, So
So how many how many? I mean, obviously you didn't get across. So how many different things did you see again? So there was 3,800 in total. What was the total that you got
60.
across in the whole? 60.
60. We saw 60 to 62 in total, but we reviewed 60.
Okay. So how many 5 stars were there in that?
I'll have to have a look at the new website. So there's a new website. So when I came back from Edinburgh, I was toying with the idea of changing the YouTube channel from Ian J. Cole to Sinners Music or Sinners Review. But then I thought, well, actually, probably the better thing to do is just to have a website where people can go
And then choose your
and
avenue.
and put all the videos there, or
Yeah.
So what I've done for this year, let me go on to it, and then I'll try and share my screen. So that's not it. That's it. Right. Just a second, no. So let me try and share my screen. I've got to try and remember how to do this stuff now. More, I think it is. No. Okay. Share. Does that share? Oh,
You just got to share the correct screen, I guess. But
yeah. Can you see that?
I can see Sinners Review, yeah, with the
Right,
water
okay.
drops on the background.
So yes. So here is the website is www.sinnersreview.co.uk, which I have to say I've had that domain name for at least 2 years. In fact, I've just renewed it, so and never done anything with it. So here is everything for. So we've got this year's Edinburgh Fringe. Obviously, going to go back and do Aesthetica this year. I'm hoping you're going to come with me. We need to talk about that, don't we?
We do need to talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll have to get together for a coffee at the weekend or something.
Cool. There's the podcast. There's some music and art. So it's predominantly video, and then the latest. I mean, this will go up there, and then this will be moved over. So when I go into Edinburgh Fringe, it's a bit slow, probably because here we are. So what I did was I put all of the 5-star, the top 4 are just the last ones that we did, which was my top 10 shows, Jane's top 10
Yeah,
shows,
yeah.
and the
Okay.
ones we missed, because there was stuff that we wanted to go and see. And we did say to people, look, if we'll try and come and see your show. If we don't get to see it, we'll put it in the last video. So here's the 5 stars. So
It's a 20 for 16. 16. Yeah.
16. They're all the 5 stars by at least one of us.
I see Dear Annie, I Hate You is there.
Still there, yeah. Well, we didn't see it this year, and we were hoping to try and go for a coffee.
Was she
with
on?
Sam?
She was
yeah.
on. She was there.
But we kept missing each other.
Right.
And then, I mean, she had a bit of a nightmare at the beginning. She had to fly back to America for her best friend's wedding and then fly straight back again. And it was she was flying in the day when we had the storm.
Right.
Because Edinburgh had this horrendous storm. So yeah, and then there's all the 4-star reviews. So 10, 20, 26.
Right.
And the 3 stars and below just links are back on YouTube.
Okay, nice.
So that's how I've done it, really.
I'll go and have a look at some of them.
Yeah, and each one has got a ChatGPT transcript, which some of them are absolutely hilarious. I mean, I have checked most of them. You have to just have a quick look to make sure that like he would do things like occasionally it would, like Ian gave it 4 stars and Jane gave it 5 stars, so it's a 4.5-star review. No, it isn't. It's a 5-star because we don't do half stars.
So I'm just looking at Frozen Lover Buckingham Nick story. I guess that's Fleetwood Mackie.
It is.
Right.
And it is, and it's. I didn't want to go and see a tribute act, and luckily it wasn't. They were really, really good. I think they're an Irish duo, and it was the Buckingham Nick story before they joined Fleetwood Mac, up until the point they joined, really.
Okay.
And their acting ability, they were brilliant. They were brilliant musicians and brilliant singers, the pair of them, and the harmonies were great. But their acting ability was absolutely superb. It was really good. And in hindsight, maybe it was 5 stars. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that we both gave it 5 stars. Amelia Hamilton was a bit of a revelation. She's a rap comedian. So Edinburgh debut, we went fairly early on. I absolutely loved it. I think Jane gave it 4 stars, and I gave it the 5. She was absolutely brilliant. The songs were great, and she's putting an album out, but she was just really great with the audience. She was absolutely brilliant. So that was. I could go through all of them, but I won't. But anyway, the Dead
So there's the Dead Mouse one, yeah.
Dead Mouse and Pea Brain Dreams, yeah. Youth in Flames was actually another one worth mentioning because it's one woman show about the uprising in Hong Kong. Now, obviously, we've been to Hong Kong, and Mimi Martin had written it, and then she performed it. She was great. For that 1 hour show, it was absolutely brilliant, really. And and what was quite nice is we gave it 5 stars, but then you start to see some of the others validating your opinion to some extent by also giving it 5 stars. There were a couple. Jane went to something which was 3 stars. I didn't see it. Wasn't my sort of thing. And other people were giving it 4 and 5 stars. So Jane sort of felt that she might have missed, but I said, it's what you feel,
Yeah.
we are just, I'm going to stop sharing this now because.
So just before you do, Ian, sorry, before you
go
come
on.
off the sharing then, so you did a top 10. So out of those 5 stars, which was your ultimate favourite then?
Oh,
what was number 1 for you?
Yeah. The Dead Mouse.
The Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just thinking I'll start there then. That's all.
Jane's was something else. I mean, Dead Mouse did make Jane's top 10, but Jane had top 18. But then there was some, she had 8 shows that were also runs. But so yeah, and like I say, some of them were things that the Brit Pop Hour with Matt Mark Burroughs was a bit of a revelation. We went on my birthday to see that. I thought I'd just go and see something that's light, and he's a music journalist, and he really was really funny because he did stand up, but it was really well researched and very well put together show. At one point, he played guitar, and it was where songs had been ripped off. So he would play the original song, and then he'd play an Oasis song, right, where they'd nicked it from and all that sort of stuff.
You'd never run out of material doing that.
No, and he was great, actually. I would go and see something by him again, Yeah, right, I'll close.
That's good, yeah, I'll check a few out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So stop sharing anyway, we're back to where we are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else. Let me just check my notes.
Well, I did notice. So while I was trying to research, haven't you spent a few weeks there, and I was researching about it. They didn't do the Best Joke Award this year. So they usually do a Best Edinburgh Fringe Joke Award, but it was scrapped for this year.
Wonder why?
Which is I know, yeah.
I have to say, in previous years, the best joke. We went to a show one year, which was apparently the best joke, and actually it was when the boys went up with us. And none of the four of us thought it was particularly funny.
They're usually one-liners, aren't they?
Yeah.
So 2024's was I was going to sail around the globe in the world's smallest ship, but I bottled it. Boom, boom. They're one-liners, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're the ones that.
Absolutely.
That was Mark Simmons.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was going to try and bring to the party was tell you what the best joke was, but they didn't vote for him. So.
Well, I know it was a bit one-sided in the sense that because it was about the fact that what the experience was like. I mean, I would recommend anybody going to it because it's unlike anything else you'll ever go to. Really,
I can imagine.
The fact. I mean, it is expensive. I mean, the most expensive show we went to where we got press tickets was £25. And that was actually Pussy Riot,
right?
Which was more of a concert than anything else. And it was running really late because it was supposed to start at 9:30 in the evening. It was a preview night, so it was like the first night. And then we got an email the day before saying it was going to start at 10, and it didn't start at 10. It started at 10:30. So we were queuing outside for a good half an hour. I mean, it didn't make any difference. I mean, it's an experience, and the fact that their lyrics are, because they're sort of rap and they're actually more electronic than punk now. They do the lyrics were actually too quick to read because you had the lyrics on the screen above what while they were performing, and the performances were great. They were really, really good. And it's really important what they are doing and what they are saying, because of the Russia that they feel is.
Because they keep getting arrested, don't they?
They do.
Then they get
And they went through all that. They had all because my only criticism, we gave it 4 stars. My only criticism was that when they're not doing the songs, now I understand that the speed of the text that you're trying to read from the songs, but when they actually aren't, and they're trying to tell the story element of them getting arrested and getting stripped and literally stripped naked and then put in front of a judge, and they show photographs of that, which is pretty horrendous, then the text needs to slow down because of they're singing and they're speaking everything in Russian, rightly so. So you need that sort of light and shade a little bit. He didn't sort of have, but it was a fantastic show to go to. It was challenging. Some of the images that they showed us on the screens were very challenging, like the woman that set herself alight, and they asked us not to cheer or clap, and you had deathly, it was literally deathly silence while this poor woman covered herself in petrol and set fire to herself, and it was it's just horrendous, but so moving, So the whole thing was was an experience, and I'm glad that I was able to see it. Really, the average price apparently was 12 quid, but quite a few were £18. Now, £18 if you're going to 3 shows a day or 4 shows a day, and with meals and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap festival to go to, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll be back again next year. I mean, even if we don't get accredited, we'd still go back.
Would you?
And we'd just pay for our tickets.
Right.
So
how much is a ticket if you're not? What's the price again of a ticket for the? I suppose can you buy different ones, days, weeks, months, or something?
No,
what would be a ticket for the whole thing?
You can't buy a ticket for the whole thing.
You just go in and buy single tickets for each show.
For each show, yeah. And so you can buy it through the Fringe website. You can buy it through the promoters. So if it was the Space, you could go to the Space box office, or you could do it online.
Okay.
And then,
but can you go on spec? You can pay on the door,
yeah,
right? If you go, I fancy the look of this, you can just go in off spec as long as it's not sold out.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Because in fact, when I turned up to see Dead Mouse and the Pea Brain Dream, we were actually first in line, first in the queue, because we like to sit at the front. To be fair, no matter who it is, we'll sit at the front.
Even if it's comedians and you get picked on.
Yeah, I mean, I was sat at the front for Amelia Hamilton. Yeah, no problem. And she did pick on me. It was in a very nice way. It was fine.
Right.
So we would, and the next person to come along after Jane and I hadn't bought a ticket, and they did it on a little machine there and then. So somebody came up with them, and so you can buy it on spec. You don't have to.
Okay. I'm
not sure every promoter or every venue does that, but certainly that was at the Space, so that they do that, And there was some. We normally go over to see some shows at the Assembly. It's interesting. I overheard a conversation saying that the big four promoters, I call them promoters, but they're and that Space were not one of them. Well, Space are actually, they've got over 400 shows on 16 stages over eight or six venues, something like that. So, if they're not one of the bigger ones, so, but we've normally gone over to see something at the Assembly, and we didn't see anything from them this year. It's just how it worked out, really. We didn't request any tickets because we didn't have shows to go and see there,
Right.
We just, we do what we always do, is we literally go through the program, pick the shows you want to go see. I do most of it online. Jane does it in paper. We get our heads together, and then based on that, we go and see shows or not. If there's something that is I don't really particularly like Shakespeare, if I'm honest. I've seen enough Shakespeare. We did go to a Shakespeare show actually, but I wouldn't normally pick a Shakespeare show.
Right.
And if Jane wanted to go see something like that, she'd probably go on her own. So we did do a few of those things. There's a couple of things that she didn't want to go and see that I went on my own, But generally, we like to do it together, really.
Right.
So there's always a compromise in that respect.
Sure.
We've got 7 minutes left. So can we get the rest of it done in 7 minutes, or do we go to?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Right. If we run out, we'll just come back again. So I don't think there's anything else unless you've got any questions.
Well, I think let's do Ask Ian Anything, and then we'll do recommendations and wrap up then, I think.
Fine, matey.
So my Ask Ian Anything this week is inspired by
I'm nervous about this thing now.
It's a long story how I got there. It's not so somebody do you remember the band Sig Sputnik?
Absolutely.
Remember that band in the 80s? Tony James. Generation
James.
X. Martin Degful was the singer, the one who wore like the fishnet on his head. Yeah. So I was into them when they were around with they had
the album.
I think it got to number 2, Love Missile F-111.
Yeah. He had adverts on the album as well.
Yeah. And they were sampling a lot as well. It was the early days of sampling. So it was, sampling. So they had they had the shtick. So I was really into them. So one of the members passed away, unfortunately, over the weekend. A guy called
Oh,
Ray Mayhew. Um, he was um, he was the guitarist. He was only 60. I don't know what the circumstances were, but he was only 60. So he passed away. So that made me reminisce about me having silly six button type haircuts. So I wanted to ask you, because I can see you've had a fresh crop. See,
James cut my hair.
you've had a fresh cut for the autumn there, ready for
Yeah,
hibernation.
every
So what's
6 weeks.
you must have had a wacky haircut at some point back in the day. Give me a taste of what one of your wacky haircuts was.
I did. Um, well, did I have I had a mullet. I did
Nice.
have a mullet.
Have you got
Uh,
have you got photographic evidence? It's a good job our lives weren't on the internet
sadly,
in the
I have.
80s, isn't it?
Sadly, I have. I mean, I have. When I got married, I think I had a bit of a mullet.
Nice.
Wasn't a big mullet, but it was definitely a bit like that.
Was it the whole short on top, long at the back? Was it like
Not
party at the back?
particularly. Um,
No.
I did go through a period when everybody was putting sugar in their hair, and the punk thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had a Mohican, but
Right,
um, I I did used to put sugar in my hair to make it stand up, to make
right.
it sort of, you know, um, and even now I still
Who
put,
didn't?
yeah,
Who
exactly,
didn't?
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I ever really had a very wacky hairdo. I mean, there will be some photographic evidence around, which I'm happy to share. I'm sure there are some band photos, some professionally taken band photos
In black
of
and white,
me.
obviously.
No, in color.
Oh, in
Oh
colour.
yeah, yeah. I need to dig out. I have got some photos somewhere. I will dig them out for next week.
Nice.
For the next one,
Nice.
I will
I'm
actually
looking
dig out a
I'm looking forward
photograph.
to a mullet pick.
Yeah, I mean, it was the kid. My kid said, "God, Dad, you had a mullet on your wedding day," and I
Nice.
suppose it was almost a mullet, you know.
They're back in mullets though.
Oh, and I saw a guy at Ed Fringe with a mullet, and I went, "Jane, there's a guy there with," and it was a proper full on, spiky top, but really
Nice.
down, right down here. I'm thinking,
Nice.
God's truth, back to yeah. Um,
Nice.
so no, I mean, I didn't really. I mean, I did. I went through a long hair phase at one point where it was down to my shoulder, just above my shoulders, when I was about 17, 18, maybe.
Right.
You know. And then I literally walked into a hairdresser's with a picture of Annie Lennox, when she had the blonde.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
said to this girl, I said, I want you to cut my hair like that. You know.
I did similar with Howard Jones. Remember Howard
Mhm.
Jones?
Yeah,
He had like dark hair but blonde at the front. And I
yeah,
wanted to go for that.
yeah.
Shocking.
I know.
Shocking. So
So
we've
that
got
wasn't
three
so bad.
minutes.
That wasn't so bad.
Three. No, no. I'm just trying to catch you out and just
Yeah, yeah,
dive into the memory banks.
yeah. So
Um,
recommendations.
recommendations.
So my first recommendation is this. Now, this was gifted to me. It's called
Oh yeah, fragile creatures.
Creatures
Yeah,
by
see.
Hannah Rose Platt. Now, Hannah and her husband Freddie did this show at Ed Fringe. Her album.
Ah,
So basically, what she decided, she's done an album, and it's about each song is about a woman, a different woman in history, and
mm,
so they brought it to Edinburgh as a Fringe show. That wasn't their original intention, but they did that anyway. They're from
mm.
Bristol. She's from Liverpool, but they live in Bristol. So
Okay.
they're going to come across to Frome at some point. So we are gonna catch up.
Nice.
They were absolutely lovely. The show was great, and then Hannah gave me the album. So I need to contact her and send her some stuff. I'll send her your album and one or two other bits and pieces
Nice.
when I get her address off. But it's a really, really good album. Some of it's folky, some of it's indie. It's but there's a little bit about this. It's gatefold.
Nice gatefold as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got a reasonable album deal with. They're an independent, but it's one of the sort of slightly bigger record labels. But it's a
Right.
really, really good album. My other recommendation is a book. I have finished a book which is not out yet. It'll be out in the next couple of weeks. It's called I need to find who the actual author is. It's called The Men Who Created Winnie the Pooh. So it's about
A.A. Milne.
Alan Milne and Shepherd, Edward Shepherd. Edward Shepherd seems the wrong name actually, but and it's their life stories really. It's incredibly well written. It was absolutely fascinating, because they weren't friends. They met through Punch magazine,
Right.
and because it literally goes right the way through all their lives, right the way through. Ernest Shepherd was not Edward Shepherd. Ernest Shepherd did a deal with Alan Milne. Now, it must have been done through an agent of sorts, but anyway, the deal was he got 20% of the royalties, where Alan Milne got 80%, which doesn't seem a good deal when you look at how great those images are. And Alan Milne had died by this time. Milne's widow, who was apparently she seemed quite snobby. She comes across as quite snobby in the book, actually. She sold the rights to Disney, as we know, didn't consult Ernest Shepherd at all. So he had, there is images, but he had no say in that at all, but it's a fascinating book. The Men Who Created Winnie the Pooh, and it's by James Campbell. And I don't know James Campbell as a writer, but the quality of his research, the quality of his writing was absolutely superb. It was just I read it all the way through, I read quite slowly, but it took me 3 weeks to read it. It's out on the 11th of September on all good bookstores, including Amazon. Go to your local bookstore to buy it. I think that's it from music recommendations. There's going to be a new single by Anne-Marie. So Anne-Marie has been playing bits of a new song that's not released yet on TikTok, and it's a banger.
Okay.
It's really, really good pop song. Sounds
Who's
great.
she done
actually.
it with? Because she usually
Just
collaborates
her.
with.
It's just her.
Okay.
And she said that she just wanted people to hear it at first, but she's going to put it out, was the last thing she said. She keeps playing bits of it, so she might be on Instagram with it as well, really. And I discovered this week Confidence Man and Jade song, Gossip. Have you heard that?
No.
That's
Confidence Man are getting big because they're doing lots of real dance stuff. They've got some backing because they're working hard. They're at every festival. They're constantly on tour. They're constantly putting out material. Constantly got people remixing them.
It's a really good song. It's got the C word in it, which is a bit slightly irritating, if I'm honest. And I suspect that might be why it's getting more prominence than it possibly should. But actually, it's a really good dance tune.
Right. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
But yes. So,
they are everywhere. I mean, people like Orbital have remixed them, and King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard. Have you heard of them? They're like a bit of a cult band. They're another band with a phenomenal output. But lots of big names are remixing Confidence Man. We'll have to look at what label they're on because they've got some money behind them.
I knew of them, but I didn't. I thought it was one bloke, and it's obviously not. It is a band. It's a brother and sister, and so the sister is a singer along with the guy. Just seems to be dancing.
They dance,
and the guy with the mask is, I think, the other brother.
Yeah, and they throw the woman around a bit, and what I mean.
But the video is really interesting as well. They put a lot of work into the video. The video's got very high production values for Gossip, and they were obviously they played Glastonbury this year.
Yes,
apparently. But it's just I thought it was an interesting dance song actually, because I am not Mr. Dance, but actually I thought, well, I can see this going down really well on the dance floor.
Interesting. They're from Brisbane. I had in my head they were European of some sort. I didn't realise it was Brisbane.
Australia.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
any recommendations from you?
Yeah. Well, you said about dropping the C bomb. So Baxter Jury's album is out very
Oh yeah.
soon, in 10 days. And the first, so I've pre-saved it, and the first couple of, so the album's called Alberoni. And the first single off it was called Alberoni. You should have a listen. It's really, really good.
Right.
That hasn't got the C bomb in it, but it's electronic, bit industrial. Baxter Jury's doing the Ian Jury kind of talking. He raps and does a bit
Right.
of singing. There's a woman with him that kind of co-writes. She plays keyboards and sings as well. I saw them live. Saw him. I've seen him a couple of times actually. I saw him last year at Forwards Festival in Bristol,
Right.
and then I saw him this year supporting Primal Scream. And hands down, he was better than Primal Scream.
Really?
Just yeah. So he's worth seeing. He's coming round actually. I think maybe you and I could go to that. I think you'd enjoy it.
I mean, he's not. I mean, I know who he is, but I have to say I haven't really paid much attention to him. I loved his dad, but then again,
Yeah.
and him
Well,
being
there's
a
shades of it. It's worth.
I'm going to say him being a nepo baby would almost instantly turn me off. But I mean, I'll take your.
Well, I think some of his songs actually talk about that. So it's
All right.
self-depreciating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have a listen to see what that.
will
The other thing is a film. It's a little bit Back to the Future. I don't mean the film Back to the Future, but it's a little bit Back to the Future, and it's quite timely. So I watched 28 Years Later, the
Yes.
zombie one, which was
Yeah.
good fun.
It
Not
is
necessarily a recommendation, but it was good fun.
I liked it because I mean, did you get the Jimmy Savile reference?
Oh, no,
28
could you
years
come in?
later. So is the latest one you're talking about?
The latest one, yeah.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you get the Jimmy Savile reference?
No, it went over my head, mate.
Right. So I mean, I
Jimmy
liked,
Savile wasn't on my bingo card for today. I've got to be
Right.
honest, but
yeah, well, there you go. So there's a bit in the movie where they show what's the tree that got cut down? That was
the Sycamore Gap one.
Sycamore
thing.
Gap tree.
Yeah.
And the Sycamore Gap tree is there
Right.
because it's an alternative reality. Because when the 28 days later hit, you wouldn't have had those idiots cutting down the Sycamore Gap tree, and you wouldn't
Right.
have had all the stuff with Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
And I think the fact, because there's going to be 2 more films, the fact that he's sort of dressed at the spoiler alert if you've not seen it, anybody, but you know, we are going to talk about the ending of the movie where the ninja Jimmy Savile's is because Jimmy Savile was obviously, he was forgetting the fact that he was a paedophile. The thing about him doing things for kid with Jim will fix it and stuff like that is obviously that character who is going to be more in the next film. You know, that's why he's dressed like Jimmy Savile, because Jimmy Savile was his hero.
Ah.
So you wouldn't have had all the stuff with Jimmy Savile and and the paedophilia and all that, because it didn't happen because of the zombie apocalypse or the
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a roundabout way of getting there. So that was Danny Boyle. So I was thinking, Danny Boyle, and then that took me to Shane Meadows.
Oh yeah,
Similar. So I went back and watched the original film of This Is England.
brilliant, absolutely. Brilliant.
Yeah, and it was set, so it's from what, 2007 maybe, I think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Films from 2007, but it was set in the early 80s. 1982, I think, the original. Then they've got 3 follow-on series, 85, 86, and I think they even did a 91, I think. So I'm going to watch the series, but watching the original film, it's a fantastic film, an amazing film, still stands up now, 18
It is
years
because it was a
later.
period of peace when it first came out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it makes you realise it's a film in 2007 about 1982. But we haven't really moved on 40 odd years later. The behaviour of hating anybody different to you, it ain't, the world hasn't really moved on in 40 odd years, which was it's kind of a bit of
It's
a
quite sad, really, isn't it? But you're
yeah. I was
absolutely
reflecting
right.
on the movie and just saying that's still happening around the country today. It's just like
Yeah.
people run down places, right? People hard up on their luck. Just and then just blaming the person that doesn't look like them for their problems, right? It's just like depressing. So sorry to end on a depressing note, but it is an
No,
amazing movie
it's
and
a
it's
great
funny as
movie.
well, right?
It's
As much
definitely-
as it's harrowing,
it is.
it's really funny too,
And
right?
that group of actors,
They've all gone on to bigger
they've
things,
all
most
gone
of them.
Yeah, they have. Which is, I mean, I really rate Shane Meadows. I saw what was the period thing that he did last year? It wasn't his best work, but it was still interesting. It was about the coins, about the I can't even remember what it's called. I'm sure it'll come to me at some point. It'll come to me about midnight tonight.
It was a bit Peaky Blinders-y, wasn't it? But not.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
But yeah, no, a good choice.
Yes, I've been watching that again. If you go find it, it was on a stream site. It was somewhere free.
I watched. This wasn't this is not a recommendation, but because we're getting rid we're getting rid of Disney and we're also getting rid of Amazon Prime. We did watch Toy Story 4 for the first time,
Right.
which I will recommend it because it was, if you need to see the other three really first, but it was a really, really good. They didn't, the franchise they haven't watered the franchise down, really, and it was really, really good. If you've never seen it,
I don't think I got past Toy Story 2 once the kids grew up.
Well, the work for adults just as much as they do for
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. I know they do because you do secretly enjoy them when the kids
One
are
of
around.
them was not quite as good. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but one of them was not quite as good as the others. It must have been 3, or the difficult second movie. But the fourth one, Toy Story 4, is really good. And I did watch last night. We watched this thing with Idris Elba on, I think it was on Prime, and he's a prime minister, and it's an action movie. What's it called? Heads of State? I think it's called Heads of State. This is not a recommendation really, but it was okay.
An easy watch on a Sunday night.
It was easy. It's a bonkers, popcorn movie with a ridiculous premise that you've got a prime minister, an American president, and they have to, the whole world's out to kill him, But I mean, and Idris was the best thing in it, but it was still watchable. It wasn't rubbish, but that doesn't quite hit the recommendation list. But if you've got nothing better to do, let's go for that.
Yeah.
Okay, matey.
All right.
Right.
We're all good. We're back in the groove.
We're back. Yeah, we're back. We're back where we started. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
podcast 10 done. I'll see you next week for some more fun. We'll talk in the week about what we're going to
Yes,
do.
mate. Yeah, we'll catch up. Yeah, stay in touch.
See you
All right.
later. Bye, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.